You know you're playing too much Minecraft when you hit escape options and can immediately know where the normal FOV and 50 FOV are on the screen. I can't believe I just nailed that first try. I play this game too much, I think, now. Hello and welcome back to another episode on the Create-O-Holics server. It is so loud, let me just escape. Welcome back as we slowly descent upon the lands of Escargaria. I'll stop that now. We're back. And in the last episode, we made so much progress, and apparently, not a great video. Currently, an 8 out of 10, which is the second worst that I posted in the last little while. So we're gonna mix it up a little bit. In the last episode, in case you missed it, which majority of people may have, we built these two kind of stone cavey archways that I think are looking so good. But it wasn't just that. I mean, that I can understand you skipping. Like, that little bit of progress, not even worth my time. The thing that's actually worth one's time is this. It's not loaded in fully yet, but the bridge of the Escargarians of late. This thing looks so cool. We spent so much time designing and building this in the last episode, and I think it turned out fantastically. This kind of entranceway, except for the floating massive azalea tree, is done at least in terms of train track, train station, and vibes. Terraforming still needs quite a bit of work. We have a cut in half tree, but otherwise, it's looking super sweet. And we also built a diagonal tunnel that spans 100, 200 blocks that goes straight through this massive mountain here. Let me run over there and show you. Holy, this bad boy is gigantic. The tree in there looks kind of cool. But anyway, we made a boatload of progress. And I think the thing that I maybe forgot about or missed is that showing off the end result isn't really the point of this, I don't think. At least in my perspective, I would rather see the process of doing stuff, whether it's designing a machine or designing a build. And I did that a little bit with the bridge, but I think I could do it more in this episode. And don't worry, it's still gonna be entertaining, so please don't click off. But when we get to the end of this video, if you like this style, definitely leave a like. It is trying something slightly new. We're still making a bunch of progress, but I'm hopefully going to show you every step of the way so that you can see what I'm doing. And today we are focusing on this picture here. I am going to take a screenshot for the before. What? Oh, I hit F3. A screenshot for the before, and we're gonna do 2 here. And then we'll do one at the end so that we can see the transformation. But currently, this looks absolutely abysmal. First and foremost, we got trees in the middle of nowhere. We have this empty stump. We have a machine here that isn't surrounded by any building. We have a mountain in the way, another one that doesn't look as horrible, and then a box that has no detailing on it other than some plants on some dirt. So we gotta fix all of this. And I think we start with the building to our right here. This thing is going to be a pretty small shack looking thing, and I'm gonna build it in survival. I am not doing anything in creative. This will be a mistake. I will see you all in 8 to 12 business days. For those of you that don't know, everything else here was built in creative first, and I mean that includes this big box that is useless. To be fair, the inside's gorgeous, but big outside box uggo. We're gonna build this all in survival. I am going to try to, I'm thinking, copy the silos in terms of gradient and style. We have a granite roof. We're throwing in a quick little gradient going upward. I'm probably just going to do limestone into stone, and we're just gonna see how it goes. But that means we need to tear this down and we need to move a couple of these levers and stuff. So I'm just gonna turn the machine off so that nothing tears itself apart. So to do this, I am going to get just an initial set of limestone blocks. Thankfully, we have about a bajillion in this backpack right here from the last time we were doing stuff. We have 13,000 cut limestone, so we have a bunch. We'll be able to use it all. We just gotta actually get going with it. So the gradient I normally go for is limestone asphalt, cut limestone bricks, limestone, cut limestone, and then, polished limestone in between, like here. And then I think we're good. We're gonna go later up top, and then up at the very top, as you can see here, we're doing stone. The stone is gonna act as a shadow to the roof. The roof, we're gonna probably do a similar style with the fence gates and fences of jungle flavor, and we are going to put that on. But we're getting too far ahead of ourselves. Let's start with just the floor. So to get started, I am going to want the entrance, I'm thinking right here. I want this on a slight diagonal, and I hate myself for it. Building on a diagonal is the most impossible thing that's ever been done, and I just love causing pain to myself. Not others, though. That's not nice. And let's just get going. I have been having issues with my replay mod as well, so maybe this will show up. Who knows? Let's just get to building. And I actually can't believe that replay mod is working. Thank goodness. It was lagging like crazy whenever I was doing it, but it rendered okay, so thank goodness. In this first little bit, we are getting all of the walls in, and you can see my strategy potentially where I'm getting blobs of each of the blocks. You can see the limestone bricks and the polished limestone are in like little sections, and then the cut limestone is in its own other section. We're doing the same kind of style for the roof where we have each thing in its own section, but of course we're doing granite and reds and jungle wood and copper and all that. And I think it's turning out pretty okay. At least the shape is really, really good. After that, as I mentioned, we're getting in the shading underneath the roof that I talked about for the silos. I think it adds so much to the silos. That's the right word. And I wanted to match that here. And right now it looks a little bit weird, I will say, but as soon as we get in those fence gates, it changes it so much. You can see over up at the front right though, the roof bit is kind of just hanging over something, so we're adding in a little bit of structure to it, and then we're moving on to detailing. Windows are my go-to. They're so easy to add detailing to, and when we're using the kind of scaffolding with the copper grates behind it, it just looks so good. And then we're adding in the like roof houses bits on top, and then we're adding in a bunch of plant pot holders, pots, just to add some color, and then we're getting on to my favorite thing ever. I don't know why I'm doing this. I think the theme of this video is just that I hate myself, but we are building another 2 custom trees to hopefully make this place look just a little bit better. That is going to be it for this time lapse though, so let's get back to the world. The little shack here is done, and here are the custom trees that I was talking about in building in the very end of that time lapse thing. These look pretty darn good, if I do say so myself. They're definitely, at least in my opinion, better than my first attempt over there. But more importantly, I think this little hut is done-ish. We haven't done this side. I don't know if I'm gonna put a building up against it or a pathway up against it, so I'm leaving it for right now. And if we go inside, there's not a lot of room for anything, so we can't really put windows there. So I'm kind of just putting it off, and I mean, we're looking at it from here, so the backside doesn't matter. Now it's time to get to whatever this monstrosity is, because I think that's the best way to describe it. The first step is getting rid of all of this extra blockage that is just horrendous. Once we have all this out of the way, I'm thinking, since this whole thing isn't super solar punky yet, we need gardens out in the front here. I don't think the ones that are like super manicured are gonna work well, but we can have some that are a little bit more run down, or at least a little more actually used by the community. And I think it'll still look pretty good. So let me get this out of the way, and then we can get started on what even a garden could look like. All right, the mountain area is now cleared out, and can I just say, the amount this has made this thing look actually good is insane. I haven't even done anything yet, and it looks so much better. Now for what the garden is going to do. A solar punky garden is a combination of something sustainable, something with native plants and whatever, and then also something that includes tech, at least a little bit. And when I was looking this up, I actually forgot some of these blocks, but when I was looking this up, I saw some kind of cool ideas of trees in the middle, and then rings of different types of plants around it, kind of taking in the different nutrients that a tree with very large roots would be giving off. I also saw things of like little garden pathways with, I suppose, engineered pathways and such. So it's still being used as something beneficial, but for some reason or somehow, walking on the pathway and creating benches made out of grass or something will all benefit to the surrounding ecosystem. So I'm thinking we do something similar to that. I think that'll mean we're using these types of trees, either acacia or the spruce ones that are native to here. We're going to be using a lot of the cornflower and nether sprout blocks, and we're just going to be using a lot of the things that are already existing in here to make something hopefully pretty cool and beautiful. That does mean more custom trees. So I'm thinking before we start anything at all, we lay out exactly where we want things to be, where custom trees should be, where maybe some like boulders or rocks should be. And then after we do that, we can maybe lay out a pathway, and then we can get to actually detailing stuff. All right, so the progress progress update on how we think this is going to look. I actually think it's going to look pretty good. So I have laid out a few different trees. This is probably dumb and is going to take me a few hours, but hopefully I'll get quicker at it as we go on. But we have what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 trees in total in this area here. I think it'll make it look pretty over the toppy. I need to make sure, I think this one has too many leaves and this one is too tall at the top. I want it to be less wide for most of these so that there's still some sun coverage and it's still bright enough, but I do want it to be covered in like kind of forest-like, but I don't want like each of the leaves of each tree touching one another. We also have our little gardens here around each of the trees, which I think actually looks pretty good, and then I've thrown in some stones around the place, and maybe we make a seating thing out of it too. I think that could be fun. And then over here, I think I don't know if we want to put a path going around this way and have like a walking garden along this area. We'll get to that later, but for now, I'm just going to have the garden kind of pitter off over on this side. I do want to, however, connect it up over to here so that you can go from here, walk through the garden, and get into the train station. I think that'll be cool. We are going to modify this pathway as well to get some mud and packed mud in there so that it looks a little bit more better. But first, I think we get the trees in, or at least the leaves of the trees, so that we can see how this thing looks with a like sky covering at all. This is the hardest part, at least for me. I can make buildings look okay next to each other. It is really difficult for me to be able to make a forest type of thing look good and feel like it makes sense. I'm hoping that with the introduction of some shorter trees on the outskirts, that this area can still be kind of tree-like instead of the kind of concrete landscape that we have over here. And maybe we throw in some more trees over in these areas once we get these looking good. I think this will be a good first step. So I say we get into another time lapse and just get to tree building and placing in a bunch of stuff here. So let's go. And in this little tree building time lapse, I wanted to talk briefly about how my thought process was for actually building these trees. I think you know, horrible at building organics. So I just watched Mumbo Jumbo. He equally bad at doing stuff. Like, we're basically the same, and he's got 10 million subs, so he's doing something right. My best bet was trying, and I did. I think I did a pretty good job. This only took about an hour and a half, and then I changed a bunch of stuff. So let's get back to me. I've changed everything. It was looking bad, and I didn't record it because I wasn't really thinking. But I've changed everything back to the original grass texture. I've added a bunch of rocks, a bunch of amethyst geode things, because that's where we are, kinda, so I feel like it fits. Maybe we add in another one over on this side, but I've changed it up. We're not doing the little crop circle things around the trees, even though it's like sustainable and whatever. It looked stupid, and I honestly don't care as much about the sustainability of a place that I'm not even going to be farming. Like, we're not going around here and farming these things up. So instead, we just have the natural kind of landscape here with a couple of rocks, a couple of amethyst geodes, and I think we're good to go there. We do still need to, however, throw in some pathways. I was thinking initially to have it be, I don't know, like just normal dirt or mud pathways going around, but why not just use the sandstone that we have? It would fit in better, it would work better in my opinion, so I think we're just gonna do that. We have that over here where we have a couple of greenery spaces, and I think it looks fine and dandy, so I don't know why we would want to change it for over here. The other thing that we still have to do is decorate this outer wall of the train station area. This archway needs to actually be an archway instead of just a square. And then we're gonna also need to decorate the outside here. I'm thinking we throw in some cogwheels over on this wall that are broken down and no longer moving. And then over here, we may do something else, or we might just throw in more cogwheels, because I mean, all these cogwheels look so dope, so why not throw those out here as well? I think the next step that I want to do, this is our animal hole, is to bring this pathway here and loop it around so that it will go through here and then connect up with our pathway that is kind of the main one leading straight into the train station. And then maybe we can also consider bringing this over this way. I do think I'll want a nature reserve type of pathway going down here. This is still janky and broken, so we are going to fix this, but that'll be in a little bit. And now that we have the blocks that we need, let's just get going with this. I am just gonna skip ahead to when this is done. I don't think it's worth the time lapse. So let's just get to when we have the path in. And the pathway is now done. I've added a few more geodes in here. This thing goes all the way around, looping a little bit just to cut off some of the sight lines and stuff. And then we connected it back up with the path over here. I also want to point out a couple of other things that I did that I actually think make a huge difference. So I've added in some grass in some of these areas just to give us a little bit more interest while we're walking up these like stairs and stuff. And it just adds a little bit more that I think helps quite a bit. We've done it a lot over here. We have way more grass built around here, and it doesn't actually affect walking around that much. It just makes the visuals of walking around look a little bit better. And I really like this little in the middle part here. There's no need to have this much path, so why not keep some of the magical, or maybe in this case just normal landscaping around. Now I think it's time to get on the decals here and build this archway. This is going to be worth doing in a time lapse, I think, and I might just schematic it since I can copy it, the what are they called, cogs, over from this side onto the other side. But I suppose let's just get straight into a time lapse for it. And in this time lapse shot, I am just printing this bad boy out with the schematic cannon because I couldn't be asked doing detailing. It's just not my thing. And then I had to kind of take down one of the thingies because there was a rock in the way that I forgot about while I was making it in creative. But anyway, we're done, and now let's go back to the world. The front of this area is now done, and oh my goodness, it looks so much better. I know I say this every single time we add something to this area. It looks so good now. Oh my gosh. I cannot wait to do a before and after of this place. Why are the blocks so loud? Okay. Holy, does that look better already? I feel like maybe we need to do something here for the glass to kind of get out of the way of the archway. That is now good. We have this whole area done. However, there is quite a bit of this area, especially up top here. I think I finished up this side. This side looks okay. It's not super detailed. Okay. Incredible. Let me charge up my backpack and then we can get to doing stuff. Okay, backpack reacquired. As I mentioned, we need to do a little bit of this up top area, terraform it a little bit. I mean, this is kind of horrific. But more importantly, this area still needs to be done. We have a hole in the floor, a mountain that just ends abruptly. Over here, for some reason, we have a tunnel that wouldn't be useful except for maybe if we wanted to add some of this mountain to kind of taper off over the thing, which we may not even do, honestly. I just need to make a plan, and I am just going to terraform this whole area until it looks good. We're gonna time-lapse the whole thing, and we're just gonna clean it up. We're gonna clean it up. We may add a couple more cogs over on the sides that are barren. We'll do that at the very end if we think we need to. But for now, we're cleaning up the terraforming. We are... What in the world is going on with this tree, big dog? Yeah, this terraforming needs to get fixed. We needed to just do stuff to make it work. This is gonna be just a grind, so let's, again, one more time-lapse time. Here we go, let's get into it. And of course, my replay mod crashed while I was recording this, and the recording got corrupted. So instead, we're just doing the most iMovie time-lapse from 2007 that you've ever seen in your whole life. I found the transitions hilarious, so I wanted to use them. A little spinorama, here's the last little bit, let's get back to the world. I don't know what it is with replay mod recently that it has crashed like half the time I've tried to do stuff, but the outside of this thing I think is pretty much done. We've added a little bit of swirly swoos on the roof just because I wanted to, and then we have a bunch of little divots and stuff in the walls just to give a little interest, and then we connected it up so that it doesn't look dumb. We've fixed this little area. It's pretty flat right now, but I think if we bone meal it, it'll look fine, and then it tapers down off into this massive kind of cliffside here that I think looks really good. We also did a little bit of fixing over on this side here, so like right there we got a little bit of cliff too, and I think it's just looking overall pretty darn spiffy. And I was right, with a little bit of bone meal, this looks fantastic. I'm gonna do the same thing over here, but you don't need to see that. So, we have made an incredible transformation in this episode. I mean, the aerial view looks so much better. This area looks incredible. This little pathway, kind of botanical garden type of place with our amethyst geode clumps and everything looks so cool. I did have to harvest geodes from where? Down here. I was digging out a bunch of them and they're all fully grown already again. But we had a lot of digging to do. We made a bunch of these little kind of outcroppings of just more plants, more things to be interested in while we're walking around. And I think maybe in the middle here, I'm gonna change up a little bit stuff. We still need to do a little bit of perfecting, but overall, I think it's pretty darn cool. And this place is finally coming together. We need more buildings over on this edge probably, but that'll come in future episodes when we make more farms, more machines, more places for things to go, but that's gonna be in a future episode. It's taken like 2 weeks for this video to be made because I have been MIA, I haven't been at my house. I've been traveling for work and stuff, but we're back. We were able to finish this off. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you like this different style, Again, if you do, leave a comment down below letting me know, like the video to let me know. But if you prefer the old style, also let me know that. I think overall it's relatively similar, but I just gave you a little bit more of my thought process and walked you through more of what was going on. One thing I totally forgot to do while we were going around was actually taking the screenshots that we took at the beginning of the episode before we built any of this and showing what the difference is. So I suppose I have the commands up here right now. I'm overlaying on the screen right now what it used to look like, and this is it now. That's number 1. Number 2, it's like I'm at the eye doctor. Can you read the bottom line? If not, you need cataracts. Wait, you have cataracts and you need to give me money. Thank you. Okay, final one. This is what it used to look like. This is what it is now. 1, 2, 1. It's people with glasses get it. Okay, that's all. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm in a creative test world. That's why I'm floating. Thank you all so much for watching. If you liked it, leave a like. Consider subscribing. I love you all so much. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Peace.